right. Next, we will move on to item number 3, consideration and approval of the agenda.
I do have a couple things.
Sure.
So I'd like to add 2 requests for council actions. One's for parks and one's for public works. For some of staff, I'd like to note that on the agenda it had stated I would add the EDA agenda. I just added it today. So we had the audit going on, but so it wasn't technically there. So I kind of want to add it because it's be there if you approve it. And then also I'd like to add just a quick update for the audit and presentation. So
okay,
where they go though, sorry.
So are the hirings, are you looking at putting that under the consent?
Yes, thank you. Could the 2 requests for council actions be 6.6 and 6.7?
On the 6.6 and the public works one is 6.7.
Thank you. The EDA agenda slot is already there under 9.2. It just wasn't officially there. And then the update on the audit could be.
I'm sorry, Marcy, what did you say? I was writing. When did you say the
EDA agenda slot was already there under 9.2, but I did not officially add the agenda. So
Since it's update, should we just put it in the work session planning,
oh, sure.
or we can put it in the new business, but
Let's save it for just 10.3. That would be everything.
the 10.3 was
The audit, just for
audit.
audit update.
Any other additions or corrections to the agenda?
Okay, motion. Just the agenda with the amendment.
I'll second that.
Motion by Dave, a second by Kyle. To approve the agenda with the addition of 6.6, 6.7 for public works and parks and rec. New hires. 9.2 the agenda is there, and 10.3 an audit update. Motion by Dave, second by Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And if you refresh your, in 1 minute, if you refresh your screen, you'll see everything there. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we will move on to item number 4 on the agenda, public forum. This is an opportunity for citizens to present items to the council that are not on the agenda. Each presentation is limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 15 minutes set aside. If your item needs follow-up from the city, staff will arrange for that. If you'd like to step forward for public forum, please make your way to the podium and state your name and address. I will ask again if anybody would like to step forward for public forum. I will ask for a third and final time if anybody would like to step forward for public forum. All right, hearing none, we will move on to item number 5.1, Fair Housing Plan and Conclusion of Small Cities Development Program.
This is in correlation with the SCDP program that the EDA had put together in 2019, 2020, that we've been collecting payments on for the last few years. As a part of the grant requirements, the city must demonstrate compliance with the state and federal fair housing laws, including conducting outreach and formally adopting a fair housing plan. We were supposed to have 2 public hearings on this when this project was implemented. With doing the closeout of deed, the project, this did not get a second public hearing. So essentially this will be the second public hearing. In with this public hearing, we also have to do a public hearing to close out the deed grant. So with talking with Lakes and Pines and deed, this was the best opportunity to do it and work them both together. So this will be, we adopt their fair housing plan and we agree to close out the grant and thank everybody for all of their time and efforts put into this project and everybody that participated.
Any questions from council before we open up the public hearing? Hearing none, at this point in time, we will go ahead and open the public hearing. Anybody would like to step forward from the public to speak on item number 5.1, please make your way to the podium. I will ask again if anybody would like to step forward for the public hearing. I will ask for the third and final time if anybody would like to step forward for the public hearing. Hearing none at this point in time, I will close the public hearing for item number 5.1. Any discussion for council on 5.1 at this point, or are we ready to move on to 5.2? I think we will talk about it later on.
It comes back again.
Yeah, it comes back on the agenda. So, all right, next up, we will move on to item number 5.2 at Scott Manufacturing public hearing on purchase of property ID 42.6309.000.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, folks. My name is Steve Birch. I'm the CEO of Scott Manufacturing and also ATS Holdings, the parent company for Scott. And I've been in this position since the first week of January this year. I was associated with the company over the past 10 years as a board member. What I want to do is tell you about our company, what we want to do, and why we would like this piece of land. Right. So I have a slide deck up here. Scott has been around now for 63 years. So we just celebrated our 63rd anniversary being here in Pine City. You can go to the next slide. And then, right now, our current facility is about 66,000 square feet. We have 2 buildings in the business park over there, roughly 80 employees on 2 shifts. We are about 70 people during our day shift, 10 people during our night shift. And so far this year, we've hired around 10 new people just this year alone. And then our sales this year, last year we were at 16 million. Our projected sales this year will be 20 million. The important piece on the bottom there is we're ISO certified. We're AS9100, which means we're aerospace quality assurance certified. We're ITAR registered. And we are also cyber maturity model level 2 compliant. Will be there this fall, which means that we can compete for work predominantly in the defense and government sector. One of the things that's going on with many small machine shops like us right now is many are choosing not to do the cyber compliance because it's expensive, 1, and 2, it's difficult. It just causes a bunch of control issues inside the company. That is my background, so we're pursuing that because we think it gives us a competitive advantage against other companies and gives us a leg up to compete in the marketplace. That's who we are today. Next slide, please. We're a precision machining metal fab shop. So we have machinists, we have welders, we have an assembly building, which is a small building that sits across the street from us, but it's also in the industrial park. Primary customer out of our assembly facility is 3M. It's the primary one, but we also do a bunch of other work in support of other companies in our assembly plant. And we have limited painting and powder coat capabilities. Next slide, please. There's a list of some of our current customers today. So we think we have a pretty good customer base that we support directly. So about 50% of our business comes from our sister company called Tower Solutions, who provides towers to a variety of U.S. government companies, but also we have towers that are overseas in countries like India, Taiwan, Israel, Ukraine. We build the stuff and it winds up over there. These are listed some of the other companies that we support. We have a pretty good dispersal of our business. So we're not solely reliant on the defense sector. We're pretty balanced. We try to keep about 50% of our business associated with tower, and the other 50% we try to keep spread out as best we can. Next slide, please. Our sister company, Tower Solutions. So both of us, we're owned by one owner. That's John Norris. But we're Scott and their tower. That's the engineering arm of the company. So they engineer and sell the towers. They're based out of Mendota Heights. What you see there is a picture of the tower. What makes us special compared to other people? And we'd love to have you come by the plant if you ever want to see. We have a patented design for our towers. So the towers, when they're built, it's 3 different bales that come together in the shape of a triangle that are held together. Very, very strong and very stable. So we're not just another tower. You can buy a tower anywhere, not a round telescopic tower. Our towers are super stable. So what advantage it gives us is you can raise a tower up 80 feet, 100 feet, 120 feet. They tend not to move. So if you want to mount a camera or a radar or a laser radar, rangefinder, you can put it on top of a tower and it's not going to move. So if you think about, let's kind of just go over to what's going on over in the Middle East, and you want to detect drones or something else, you put the tower up. It's really important for the camera. If the camera is at the top of the tower, if it's trying to look at something 4 miles away, you don't want the camera moving because it's really hard to get an exact location of where it is. So that's the competitive advantage we have over any other company that we're competing with, right? So, okay, next slide. And go ahead to the next slide, just explain that, thank you. And then that's our family of products. Difficult to see, but we do large towers, 130-foot tall towers, and we go all the way down to pickup size towers that you would see the tower mounted in the pickup truck. Those towers today you will find over in Ukraine. We make them for Northrop Grumman as a company. They sell them to the Ukrainian military. And at the top of the tower, you'll find a radar, you'll find cameras, and you'll find communications and control systems. So when drones are coming at Ukraine, those towers, their job is to detect the drones, and then it provides that information to guns, then the guns will shoot the drones down. So that's an example of a use for the tower made right here in Pine City. And then we can also mount them on small ATVs. Here's a good part for Pine City. So the trailers that you see at the top of the thing and the container that you see, the fourth image at the top, they're made right here by Deka, right? So this is good for Pine City because it's not just what we're doing in our building, but it's also the work that we do with Deka, provides them jobs, provides them money. Great partners for us to work with, but it's all jobs here in Pine City, right? Next slide, please. I talked a little bit about the application. So you'll find us in the counter drone. We're used by the Air Force and by the Army to control UAVs right now. So UAV coming back to an airport, they put the towers up and they can control the UAV, kind of like a auto land system. The whole key with towers is you want to get a tower up high enough so that it's above trees or any type of obscuration that's there. The border, our towers are all over the southern border and northern border of the United States. They have historically been our biggest customer for the past 6 years. And then, we sell to the military. Space system support, Blue Origin, the space launch vehicle, so that the rockets that go up and then come back down, they need to be cleaned when they come back down. So it's a tower made right here in Pine City that they use. If you want to call it an enema for the tower, you can call it an enema for the tower. But when the tower comes back down, they raise the tower up inside with high pressure hoses, clean out the inside of the rocket, and the rockets can be reused again, but made right here in Pine City. And then for radars, you can find our towers along the Pacific and Atlantic coast for radars and at some airfields. Next slide. So here's our opportunity that we have right here. So tower, last year there were $13 million business. This year, already booked almost $20 million in tower sales. The opportunity, and this is why we need the building and why we need the land, right? The Border Patrol has a ceiling on their contract for an additional 350 towers that would need to be made before the end of 2028. We don't have the space to do that today. In order for us to do that, we need to do something, which is build a building. We would like the land in order to do it. So we want to win that contract. We want the 350 towers to be built here in Pine City over the next couple of years. Really, by the end of 2028 it's the end of the Trump administration, but we'll see how the government awards the contract because that's what we're waiting on now. So we cannot meet that number unless we do something different over at our industrial park. So we've looked at options. I don't want to send the work down to the Twin Cities. I have no desire to do it. I don't want to send the work over to Wisconsin. I want to do the work right here. It's easiest for us to do it, but we've got to do something in order to adjust our capacity in order to do so. Next slide. This is a pretty basic building that we're trying to assemble. It's a 12,000 square foot assembly building. It would be used for assembly. There would be no machining located in that plant. And then there we'd have 4 bays. It gives us the capacity to have eight 8 towers being constructed at any given time. And it will lay it out on our property. You can go to the next slide, please, ma'am. And so there are the bays at the bottom of it. And then at the top, we've got storage so that when things are, we'll machine the products inside of our main assembly or our main plant, and then we'll bring everything over to the assembly plant. There will, things will be stored and then assembled. So it's an assembly operation that'll take place over there. What it also does for us is it frees up space in our current facility so we can buy additional machining. So part of our roadmap through 2026 and into 2027 and 2028 is to buy more machines, hire more machinists so that we can, build more parts. So we're also trying to build a future workforce that's going to take us to the next 5 or 10 years with it. But that's the new building that we want to build. Next slide. So when I presented this stuff to the economic development folks when they came by our building, the plan was to lay out the building this way, which would be directly behind our building. Subsequent to that, we've changed the layout of the building or where we want the building to be. If you take that building and spin it 90, you don't mind if I go to the All right. So what we want to do now is we want to spin the building. So here's our current building. Here's the turn in the road. Broken is over here. This is the lot that we're talking about. We want to spin the building 90 degrees. The building will be located up in this part of the lot right here, along the lot line with the new lot. And that'll give us the ability to bring stuff in and do it. But we need more space. The lot is important to us for space to store. We've had issues in the past where we've built towers and then the federal government has not been willing to accept the towers because they haven't worked out. A lot of it has to do with land contracts with ranchers in Texas. So we wind up storing. We simply do not have the capacity without this piece of land right here. So we want to spin it here. It also gives us a future opportunity. If business goes south and the building is located here, then we could subdivide the lot. And this would be, that you could do whatever you want with that. You'd have a 4-bay, 12,000 square foot building with parking next to it. So if you want to turn into a garage, an assembly plant, or whatever, you'd be able to do it. So it's trying to be forward thinking in what we're trying to do. That makes sense. Let's see. Do I have any more slides there? Yeah, so 12,000 square foot, as I just told you, is the thing. The land that we're talking about right now. So everything I've been trying to, I have to move forward, right? So my responsibility is we have to be ready to assemble at our full rate of production by the 1st of next year, right? So I have like a series of moving targets that I'm trying to meet. 1, assemble the building. 2, make sure that our production capacity is ready to go. And 3, sort out whatever was going to happen with this bit of land so that by the end of this year, I have a solid plan for next year. So it's a little bit of movement, and what exactly I'm going to do or we're going to do over there. But our proposal is to buy that additional piece of property, make it part of our overall construction plan. We have a plan to hire 15 additional people along with this work. So we have 2 grants in. We have a MIF, and then we have a job creation fund proposal in. So we want to have 15 more people come on board in the company. It's good jobs here in Pine City to help man the building and then work with the additional equipment that we buy inside our current production facility. That's my presentation. Do you have any questions or anything I can answer for anybody?
Yeah, I guess I have a couple.
Yes, sir.
So the public benefit, I think that's going to be important for us as a council and as the city to see how this is benefiting the public. To me, that would make sense with 15 additional employees, and you're providing job opportunities and business opportunities to other local businesses and other folks in the industrial park.
Yes. So I think the other piece is we have a $2.3 million construction project, which is jobs right here. We're using Hogue Construction as our contractor that we have for the job. So $2.3 million worth of construction, 15 full-time jobs that we plan on onboarding over the next, a lot of it is really going to be when the government awards a contract, but it's over the next couple of years. We've already hired 10 additional full-time people this year. We want to get 15 more people over the course of the next few months as we ramp up and get the production rate. But I think the biggest public benefit is good jobs for people right here in Pine City.
With that, do you see the, with the 15 additional staff, is that something that's going to be, you'd be looking for kind of that same target of Jan 1 of 27, or that a little bit more?
If you make the assumption, so there's an assumption. The assumption is that the contract gets awarded sometime in the next couple of months, and that we have to be at full rate of production on January 1 of next year. Then it all should flow through September, October, November, you know, as the building gets completed and gets filled, then we would be there. Anything else that deals with delays in the federal government awarding the contract would be kind of the, you know, a month by month delay in us getting the 15 people. But that's our plan to get there.
Okay.
That answers your question.
Perfect. I think those are all the questions I have.
And on the public benefit side, as you explained, you're setting it up so if something was to happen where you didn't get this contract, you're essentially creating a business opportunity for someone else to come in and maybe purchase the building you're putting in. Is that what you're parking?
Right. The public benefit would be if business goes south. So we have every intent of occupying that building this year regardless. But if the tower business goes south, that would be a building and a parking lot that could be sold off to somebody else, and you have a building that's already there. Whether it's a garage or a paint facility, whatever, you have a 12,000 square foot facility with parking available for somebody else.
And then on, just to clarify, the 10 positions this year, those are new positions, not attrition or retirement.
We've had 10 new positions, primarily machinists and assembly.
Awesome. And then you said 16 to 20 million, 16 million was sales last year, 20 million was this year. Is that a unit increase, or is that as far as the increase in sales? Is that, are you selling more, or is it just because stuff's more?
No, we're selling more. Okay, good. I'm saying we're busy, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if somebody from the company is going to complain about the working too much, but we're busy.
Perfect. Any other questions for council?
All
right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This is a public hearing, or we will go ahead and open the public hearing at this point in time. If any members from the public would like to come forward and have questions, please make your way to the podium and state your name and address.
Molly Davis, 440 Fifth Avenue. I have a couple questions. You said you guys are CMMC2, self or CPA 3.0? Did you have it done, or did you do it self?
So we are CMMC level 1.
Yep.
We will be CMMC level 2 in
Okay.
October with the C3.
Perfect. As for that same question, then ATS Holding has an expired cage code. Is that going to affect any of your government contracts, being that that is your parent company? No? Okay. And then assumingly your ISO 9100 translates into the AS 9100 for military. Perfect. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We are still in a public hearing. If any other members of the public would like to step forward, please make your way to the podium and state your name and address. We'll ask again if any other members of the public would like to step forward. And then we'll ask for a third and final time if any other members of the public step forward for this public hearing. Hearing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing. And at this point in time, we'll move on to item number 6 on our agenda. Unless there was other discussion from council before we move on, we'll bring it back. It'll come back later. Okay, perfect. All right, we are on to item number 6, the consent items. Any questions, comments, discussion, or would someone like to make a motion to approve?
So I would just like to ask, since we just kind of last minute added 6.6 and 6.7, could we just do kind of a broad brush stroke of that before we take any action on it for the public good?
Sure. Do I, one person that we had on the list, is not gonna be working out for this summer, so we kind of, would like to offer this to another person that we've already interviewed, as well as it's basically the same for both of them. Was one additional person for parks, mowing, and then also this other person will be taking on the cemetery mowing.
And both of these positions have been budgeted for.
Oh, correct. Correct.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments from council? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion by Dan. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up, we will move on to old business. This is item number 7.1, Brokema Beltway MN Investment Fund MIF loan agreement.
Correct. Earlier this year, council approved for the application, the MIF application, the Minnesota Investment Fund, with Brokema and the city kind of being its fiscal agent, pass through with deeds grant funds. So council approved that. This is the final document. So we have a loan agreement. These documents, and then a guarantee, a promissory note, and a security agreement. These have been through our city attorney, actually both the LMC attorney and then also our city attorney. And now we're looking for approval. There is a deadline for this to get to deed by, I think it's June 15th is the deadline to get this turned into them. So this is on the agenda tonight for council approval.
And you're looking for an approval of each of the.
Each individual, I would like.
item. Okay. Perfect. Any questions, comments, or concerns from council?
I just had one question, and maybe it was an accidental, but on the promissory note under number 1, was there a reason that it was highlighted?
Nope.
Okay.
And we were trying to like
Okay.
we wanted draft to stay on it, and we couldn't get the yellow off without the draft, so it's just there for color.
Okay.
But thank you, it's a good question.
Right. Would someone like to make a motion on the loan agreement option?
I'll move it.
Motion by Dan. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, do you need these to be roll call or can they be at large?
At large.
All right, we've got a motion and a second approving the loan agreement. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up is the MIF corporate guarantee. Would someone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Motion by Kyle. Do I hear a second from Dan? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up is the MIF promissory note.
I'll make that move.
Motion by Dave. And do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. All right, next up, MIF security agreement. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Dan,
I'll second it.
second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Perfect. All right, that brings us to item number 7.2, Atscott Manufacturing purchase of PID 42.6309.000.
We just back up for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, just want to thank Brokema for expanding. I think it's a great opportunity for our city. And
I'm glad Atscott is here, actually, because it sounds like we're both on the same path of growth and victory.
I missed when your owners overseas were. I wish I'd been there, but I thought it out.
We missed you.
I'd love to be there. I've been there before.
Our doors are open, just like Atscott. Our doors are open anytime anyone from the city or city council would like to go on through. We're always kind of proud to show up. We'll get you out there. Feel free.
Thank you.
So Jeff, quick question. We do have a lot of documents to sign. What does your Friday look like? I know you have a busy schedule coming up.
So Friday would be good.
Okay.
Yes.
Could we connect on Friday to get, okay.
Yes. So are we good?
So I think then we don't have to sign this tonight. We'll
Okay.
just connect on Friday
I
and
hate to die the dash, but I go coach softball.
he's got coaching.
You get the word. Get the word.
So I know you wanted to
Thank you.
get going.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you
Thanks,
for being
Jeff.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, now we will move on to item number 7.2, Atscott Manufacturing purchase of PID 42.6309.000.
I'll make the motion that we approve it.
Motion by Kyle to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
And a second from Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, can this be at large for purchase?
This might have to be.
Let's do a roll call.
Sure, let's
Let's
do
just do a roll call. All right, we got a motion by Kyle and a second from Dave to approve the purchase of PID 42.6309.000. Motion by Kyle, second by Dave. I'll proceed to the roll call vote. I will start with you, Dan.
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Kyle?
Aye.
And I will also vote yes. That motion carries. All right,
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
guys.
Councilor.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Be in touch.
Oh, sorry for talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, next up is item number 7.3, Trails Update.
Jim had mentioned that he might be late. So since he's not here, I would just like to bring it back to the next agenda because he's gonna have more information than I do. He's been working directly with the county, the surveys, the college and the college land. So I feel like if it's okay, I would like to table this and bring it back, the update to the next agenda.
Motion that we table it until Mr. Sloan can be here to present on it.
Motion table by Mr. Palmer
I'll second it.
and a second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of tabling until the next meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right,
Thank
next
you.
up, 7.4, Thomas Park update.
So Tabitha and I put together a memo about just the progression of this, because we have not been giving updates to council and where this is at. So this was done to show we are working on it. Anything more to say?
I mean, we are kind of at the point that
We are asking for council's recommendation though too.
where they switched directions.
Yeah.
So I was the one that had to bring this up. That's fine. I just like to get rid of some of the stuff that started 4 years ago. Anyway,
We've not been successful with the church.
no, and I understand that, and I don't think we ever will. But I just think that we have owners that are interested in purchasing this. I don't think we're gonna have any rebuttal from anybody. I don't think the church is gonna care. I don't think the Gillespie family, I'm even sure if any of them are alive, but are gonna care. And I think the family that's interested is very interested, and it'd be nice to get it back on the tax roll. And whatever idea they had about doing this, it wasn't gonna work out the way it was run, the way it was put together. So, my feelings are that, I don't think legal has told us we can't go back and sell to somebody. I think what I read, what I understood. So I would get a hold of the neighboring property owners, and then we can notify the church and the Gillespies, and if they don't want to intercede or throw their name in, that they're against it, let's just go forward.
Wasn't there some questions around whether or not it was approved by council to accept it by resolution that we were trying to sort out? And so my only question is, if we're not 100% sure if we own it or don't own it, do we even have the right to sell it if we're not ownership of it? I think we had 4 options, and one of them was to contest whether or not it had been accepted into the city limits and put it back on the adjacent properties.
Where are you gonna get the burden of proof for that? Where are you gonna figure out where that's coming from, Kyle? I understand what you're saying, but I've been around long enough to know some of the stuff that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago. Nobody knows where the hell it even is. And that is a problem. And this is one of the things that happened. And a lot of the main parties that were involved, they're no longer with us. And that's why I'm saying, I don't know if anybody's gonna even push us on this. I really don't think so.
And I understand that. Since I don't know whether or not we have an item that we own or not, I'd rather contest ownership and have it go back that route than trying to sell it and find out later that we're getting sued because we sold something we didn't own.
What if we engaged in the title work? Wouldn't engaging in the title work answer a lot of those questions?
The very first option is the kind of one that we attempted to follow through with, is requesting a meeting with the McHughes and the church to discuss the conveyance of the property. If we were to convey this property, the property owner that we would convey it to would have to put it in a conservation easement. So it will never be built on. That is option one, and I believe that is the option we went through to move forward with. That was the title search and then essentially a demand letter trying to engage. And we engaged with the neighboring property owners. They are interested, but we had to get the church on board as well. We can't get a hold of the church.
I don't
We
think,
have to have both on board in order to convey, because of that conservation easement that has to happen.
I don't think the property owners that are interested want anybody building that. No.
They don't,
And so,
but we have to, in order to do that, the church has to sign off and get rid of the
Covenants.
covenants that are there. So the next technical step is to technically challenge the property.
So the challenge would be that that the church never gave it to the city and that it would
Legally.
revert back to the church, correct?
Correct. They would force it back to the church.
what's that process involved?
Lots of litigation.
I knew you were going there. I just didn't want you.
I think it was like $5,000 to $10,000 in litigation minimum.
That's if they don't come to the table.
That's if they don't come to the table, and currently, right now, we cannot get the church to come to the table. And I do have a signed, confirmed that they did receive our letter. They signed for it, so.
I guess, why do we have to have litigation if we're challenging the resolution that we have ownership with the litigation beyond their part to prove that they gave it to the city?
We have to fight it to say that they didn't give it to us correctly.
And you talk to anybody in particular over at the church?
I can't even get them to call me back. I've called
Do you
Handful
want
of
a committee
times.
from the council? Because I know just about everybody. And I'd be willing to go over and have some conversation.
because I even sent them they didn't even, I gave them the option, they could have just signed the document that we need signed, and it would have come back, and we could have just proceeded with the neighboring property owner, but I didn't even get that back.
In theory, right now, we are the sole owners of the property,
Yes, part of an HOA,
and the HOA, who's the other partners of the HOA?
the neighboring property owner.
So they're the Glassby family?
No,
How did they buy into the HOA then?
the Gillespie family is the ones that originally owned it.
It's a,
Gave it to the Presbyterian Church.
Yeah.
The Presbyterian Church gave it to us. They were so nice to do that.
The original problem was that the neighboring owners want to be in charge of the HOA
mhm.
so that they can take action.
So we can keep anybody out of there. They don't want that thing to be developed.
If they gave us control and we decided to eliminate the covenants that way, then would we have the option to give it back to them?
We would have to litigate it in order to get rid of those covenants.
Back to the lawyers, stuff.
I think we should just build on it and have them come up and figure it out, to be honest.
At 10 to 15,000 on litigation plus, can you invest 10 to 15,000 and make it a usable piece of parkland, or are we past that?
We don't
point?
even have like parking lot area. There's nowhere to park over there. I mean, we'd have to go cut that little, we've only got like a 6-foot section to go into it.
I mean, if I guess.
Might not for a vehicle.
But if we started cutting trees, that would either prompt the church to come out and demand that we stop, that would bring them to the table, or
But I
just keep doing
think
it.
because of the title work that the neighboring property had done, theirs shows that this is supposed to be part of an HOA, and they could come after the city for it. And they are the ones that are trying to take it back. Take it.
At one point in
Essentially.
time, there was an agreement that there could be like the trail that goes
A
straight
trail that,
back,
yep,
straight line.
And any
they weren't
non-
even willing to negotiate that trail.
And any non-native vegetation could be removed. That was one of the covenants. like, that's the, like, I don't understand. Like, we have the ability to go in there and do stuff, but we're too afraid to go in and do the stuff that we're allowed to do. So if we're not willing to invest any money to do the stuff that we're allowed to do, to even put it in as, then kick it on down the road. I know it's called out in the comprehensive plan. I know that there was a lot of conversation and people wanted to do the Connect Voyager Park, and that's, you know, the maps out there, it's been around for years and years, but
Yeah.
Okay, I guess my thought would be either that we follow Dave's plan, sell it to them, and they sign off on indemnification for the city, or we put it towards litigation.
it's not.
I think we do something because it'll get somebody going. I mean, if we're gonna end up in litigation, hey, what's the difference? Really, what's the difference? And nobody says anything that we're gonna get away with.
I guess the only concern that I have, and I'm not in disagreement with you guys at all, but I guess the only concern that I have is, I think Dan, your wheels were kind of turning that way too. Well, it's gonna be 15, 20 grand to litigate it. You just mow a 6-foot wide path and drop a gazebo somewhere and go, problem solved, and move on with our day and forget that any of this ever happened.
Canoe up park, or, you know, there's different things you can do, but, you know, and I don't want to speak for parks, but in looking in budget, it doesn't appear that this is in any, this year or next year. It looks like there's things that we're trying to do and grow in parks, but this isn't plugged in anywhere that I know of, but it's not.
If we got roads to build, I don't think we got money for parks.
So, you know, you're looking at 2 or 3 or possibly even 4 more years of it.
And
Sitting
I
there.
guess my other question or other thought would be the city owns some other parcels in that area along the river that was kind of if my memory is correct, it was a trade-off with the DNR for some dock slips that were on the river around developments in town. So we kind of they said, well, we'll give you this, but you have to give us something in return. This was back in 18 or 19, I want to say. So the city purchased a couple of the lots there that are kind of in that bay, and they're just undeveloped lots owned by the city. They can't be developed without triggering DNR to be angry at us. So
Which lots, I guess?
there is if you go straight off of 3rd Avenue, right in that little bay there between the freeway and there's a lot there. There's a lot across that bay, a 3-acre lot that we own. Or there's like 3 parcels along the lake or along the river that are owned by the city to be, and it was my understanding that they were to be left natural, and they're not real buildable lots anyway. I know at one point in time I was looking at one of them to roll a dock in off the street because that's about all you were ever going to do with it. But so I guess with that thought, we already have other land there that city owned. Again, is this another thing? How far do we kick this can down the road before we just say, well, this is not the same as the rest of these lots, and this can be someone else's problem in 15, 20 years, and let them deal with it.
Well, and taxable, again, every little bit helps. If it becomes a taxable parcel, helps.
Yep.
Why not turn it over to somebody that can appreciate it and do with what they want to do, rather than keeping it in the coffers.
And I like what's going.
Yes, Mr. Foster.
49 feet of road.
Thomas Burke.
Thomas Park?
This is okay.
But if you go there and have neighboring property, when we walked it with Parks and Rec, it's not very wide. It shows that on there, but I don't think Beacon's right in that area.
It's because all those trees that are right there like that's part of it. It's all just grown up. They're all weed trees, if you will. There's a
Harlan got a great name.
I mean, technically, we could stake it off and then clear cut all the trees.
That's the neighboring property owner's middle name, that's why it's there.
Just, if it is buildable, you'd probably get 200 grand.
The city attorney did say that if this property is gonna sell, and to who we really need to consider this conservation easement and get market value
I think
for it.
Tommy's interested. What about a little swap there, Tommy?
Clear the conservation easement and get market value.
Conservation easement will put it there that it will never be built on.
You know, but how would we get market value if we had the conservation easement in place with the parcel? Yeah, they get less than $1.
Right.
I would challenge the conservation easement if nobody knows the covenants, but.
Because we'd have to
The only person that would be working. Elton Gallmeyer.
Is there? I know we're working with our city attorney and we've worked with our city attorney in the league, but is there someone that specializes in this more that can give us a little bit clearer guidance? Or is this
It's
kind
up
of?
to you guys. So the ones that did the title search for this property, because our city attorney did not do it, it was Stroff Law, their land and real estate attorney. Entirely up.
It would be
Right.
kind of interesting to post it as a sellable property, make it public with the agreement of indemnification. Yep. And then, that might prompt some conversations from parties that might want to keep it that way. Yeah, I think it's time to step on the can and stop kicking it. So,
I want to get this done before I'm not here. You know,
so are we gonna,
gotta get done.
are we gonna sell it to one owner? Or are we gonna make it sellable to the public, for the public good?
This is something we may have to look into also with that HOA thing. I'm throwing that out there. If theirs shows that it's supposed to be an HOA, is that something that we have to list if we're gonna list this?
But I thought the HOA was null and void. We weren't held to that because
Well, we're not technically held to it unless
technically we're not held to it.
we'd have to fully prove that. I mean, we
That's
have the proof to show that it wasn't accepted correctly, but
Is there HOA documents that govern the property?
not in our title searches.
Yeah, burden of proof is on someone else at that point, in my opinion.
What are we doing? Making this public or selling it to one person or they're cutting trees or litigating?
Make it public and sell it. That's my opinion. I'd be in support of that and see what it flushes out, you know, and again, we're prepared to litigate one way or the other. So if it flushes something out, then if we have to litigate, then we have to litigate, but it is moving forward instead of spinning on ice.
So you're gonna, as staff, you're gonna have to find out how we can list it or is that, so if we make a motion, go ahead and figure that out and then list it. Is that a good enough motion? We need something bigger than that.
If you're gonna go that route, I would ask what you wanna list it for.
If we listed for the fair market value, but there's a different person that can come in for the public good that can demonstrate a need for it. I mean, we just went through this process through a public hearing, that option would be available, right?
Mhm.
I guess I would make a motion that we list it for fair market value. For the option of the greater good of the public.
All right, motion from Mr. Palmer to list the parcel at fair market value unless someone can come forward with a benefit to the public for that piece of property.
And this just goes on our city website. As all of our other properties are.
Would be my thought.
After we check out, if we list it that way.
That's consistent with what we've done before, correct?
Don't put it on yet.
So we're listing it once we got the okay from the attorney to list it, or
I think we have to do approval.
we kind of seemed pretty gun ho on selling
Well, I
there
mean,
for a second. Now we're
You
back
took
up,
over
so.
you took over my motion, so I'm ready to follow you. And I'll second your motion just because of that. That's all.
Dave, Mr. Foster, did you have?
You probably do it, so put a trough, they'll probably do a 40-year track search. I can't find anything on it. I'll probably have to do a 6-week publication. For like a foreclosure. It won't be a foreclosure.
We already have the track search.
So then
There's a whole big ball game
If
behind
you
it.
can't prove that you have title, then go track them.
If they claim ownership, then we wash our hands of it that way too, I would think.
If they claim ownership, then you go to court if you want. If they have to prove. It'd be no different than if it was in probate. That's supposed to for 15 grandchildren.
If we want to contest it, right? We could just wash our hands of it at that opportunity too.
And charge back taxes.
How much you charging us? Are you, is this a freebie?
So,
I would definitely go to trial and have them do that. You're gonna wanna have any title before you sell it, otherwise
Yeah, we
end up in a mess with whoever's buying it.
You wanna adjust your motion to reflect that, what he just said?
Well, I think
it's gonna happen regardless, I think.
I think what you motioned encompasses that, getting the legal, that would be the steps taken.
I would set the legal opinion, or I would make it, post it after 30 days. Cause I don't wanna drag this out for 6 months on a legal opinion, in my opinion.
Can you restate your motion one more time?
All right, my motion would be that we make it a public sellable property at fair market value. Or unless somebody can come forward and prove that they can purchase it for less for the greater good of the public. And we post it to the city website after 30 days, and in that 30 days, we get legal opinion that we can post it that way.
How many weeks did you say it had to be posted?
I don't know for sure, but I think it's 6. That's what foreclosure is.
Maybe you gotta go 6 weeks on that.
So we'll say that let's just go 8 weeks, just in case, we'll just cover it that way.
It's at least
8
6 months anyway.
60 days.
Yeah, I'll go 60 days. I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor to list the property as public saleable property at market rate after 60 days of investigation from the city and city attorney. That encompass everything together. Perfect. All right. Any further discussion?
One discussion point, just looking it up on Beacon, it says that the address of it is Pine City, City of Pine City, 315 Main Street. Is that an issue?
it's ours, I promise.
All right, perfect. I'm good then. As long as you promise.
All of our city parcels still have that, and not sure why.
All right.
All right. I've got a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up, moving on to item number 7.5, ordinance 5.35, special events.
and she's back.
So at the last council meeting, you guys tabled this and wanted clear direction or clear verbiage in the ordinance from the recommendation from planning commission. So I made that correction in it, as it states, alfresco dining activities conducted in compliance with PCC 123620 F and all associated performance standards. A special event permit is required if the activity exceeds the authorized scope or violates any condition of the alfresco license.
Dig it.
Questions or comments from council? Was someone comfortable making a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 5.35 special event. I'll second.
Motion from Dan, Second from Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, as this is an ordinance, we'll proceed with the roll call vote. Kyle?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Dan?
Aye.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up is new business item number 8.1, a request for council action, fair housing plan and conclusion of SCDP fair housing.
You guys had a public hearing on this just a little while ago, and we would like council to approve the fair housing plan and agree to the closeout of the SCDP program.
First question, comments?
This was the one that Leslie started though, right? Wasn't she part of it?
Correct.
Yeah, but she doesn't have to finish it then.
No.
She doesn't have to bring, okay, you can handle, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I'll make a motion to approve the fair housing plan that has presented.
Motion by Dan. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up, 8.2, request for council action, solar panel grant incentive, solar app plus, MNFAQ.
The state of Minnesota actually has a program out there that if us as a city implements a solar panel app, which would fall under our baseline program or our baseline system, it'll be implemented with Rum River. The city gets a $15,000 grant. There's no matching funds. Nicole and I, we sat through this explanation and project, and it's all based, so you'll once awarded, you're automatically awarded the $5,000. There's another $5,000 and another $5,000 that we could get. We're almost guaranteed to get the full $15,000, so we would actually be able to bank the $10,000 and apply it where you guys see fit. But $5,000 for the plan implementation of this would go to Rum River.
And the 10,000 would be for our own development or for other businesses that had it?
It is city money. Like an open-ended kind of grant.
And they don't have any restrictions that it has to go to solar panels or?
Nope. Absolutely nothing. Nicole and I questioned every which way we could to try to, other communities are using it. They're implementing other different kinds of programs within their community. Not programs. Kind of like new software programs. That's what they're using it towards.
Questions for Tabitha, or would someone like to make a motion on resolution 2026-13? Well, it says 13 on the actual, click on the resolution, it says 13 on the
Not on the paper, but
Oh, it does say that 13 on the actual resolution. Can I check the resolution? Can we verify our numbers real quick?
Yep.
So the app itself becomes part of the permitting, so that takes workload off of your office, is that correct? So instead of having to do a bunch of reviews and site plan reviews and stuff like that.
All done
it's-
automatically through the state.
So that, then it just comes to you when it's finished. And if there's anything for planning variances, things like that, that's fantastic.
The correct number is 13, the one that is actually on the document.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion for resolution number 2026-13?
So moved.
Motion by Dan. Do I hear a second? Second by Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none, as this is a resolution, we'll proceed with the roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Dave?
yes.
Kyle?
Aye.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up, 8.3 Building Safety Month Proclamation Request.
We are asking the council to consider presenting a proclamation recognizing May as Building Safety Month. This annual campaign, led by the International Code Council, highlights the importance of building permits, code compliance, and the role they play in keeping our communities safe. This year's theme is Built to Last, focuses on modern building codes, the work of safety professionals, and sustainable practices that support long-term resilience. Building code protects residents and properties from risk like fire, severe weather, structural failure, and they rely on coordination among code officials, contractors, design professionals. Building Safety Month has been recognized for more than 40 years across all levels of government. Additional resources for contractors and property owners are available on the Rum River Construction Code website. If the city adopts a proclamation, we welcome a signed copy to submit to the ICC for inclusion on their national campaign site.
Comments from council, or would someone like to?
I have a comment, and I'm not trying to be snarky, but as one of the things we continue to work with Rum River and improve our relationship, if this is something that happens annually, is there a way to get this before the month of May?
It's over almost.
Yeah, just so we can get so we can utilize it as a tool to engage with the community, to use it as a.
We got it at the very beginning of May.
I see them. They sent it to you on the 3rd, so.
They did, but I think it was all kind of holding in limbo to see which way council was going to go with Rum River. And the RFPs and everything.
I'll put my foot in the mouth.
So I will make the motion that we move forward with it, that with the caveat that in the future, whoever our building official is, they have to come in and do a proclamation publicly at the first meeting of May to talk about
Like that. All right, we've got a motion from Kyle to approve with the add-on that moving forward, that code official will come forward first meeting in May and present that. Do I hear a second?
I'll second for purposes of discussion.
All right, second from Dave. Any further discussion?
Well, the discussion is this. When we go into fee schedule coming up, when we do everything at the end of the year, I would like to see our contractor, building official in here. And I'd like to go through some of those fees, and I'd like some justification on some of the charges. Because some of them are built to just violate. I mean, when you're charging somebody twice what the city of Cambridge charges them, and they say that they can do it for that price, then somebody's getting rich. And I don't think it's the contractor or the person putting like the furnace or the water heater or anything else in their place.
The only caveat to this is that this is only on the proclamation of whatever official for Safety Month of May. If we want to talk about rates and our contractor, then I think that we should set that aside as a separate work session and have those conversations. But I don't think that conversation is meant to be here. Not saying it's a bad conversation, but I don't think that these go hand in hand.
Well, I'll agree with that. I got to say what I wanted to say anyway. But thanks for correcting me.
I am willing to have a work session if you'd like to discuss it.
Well, I appreciate that. I probably will.
I tend to agree that it is what warrants future discussion, because the goal, in my opinion, is compliance and not,
I agree with all of the above. All right, we've got a motion and a second to move forward with the 2026 proclamation. Is there any other follow-up from council? Hearing none, does a proclamation need to be a roll call vote, or can that be an at-large vote?
Sorry, you can at-large vote.
Okay, perfect. All those in favor of moving forward with the 2026 proclamation, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tabitha. All right, next up, 8.4, request for council action, Shalene Park improvements, phase 1.
Hopefully you guys got a chance to read that whole thing. So I've been working with the DNR, the Pine County Soil and Water, and I've met with the Pine County Northern Light Lions and the Pine City Area Lions, and I have a meeting with the Rock Creek Lions tomorrow to hopefully, as a collaboration, we can kind of get together and make Schilling Park good. Obviously, it's an underdeveloped park, and hopefully, you got a chance to see the slideshow of kind of what we want to do to it. There's, I guess, any questions? The first step is we would like council action to pursue natural shoreline buffer with Pine County Soil and Water. The city would have to pay out about $4,200, and we have a dedicated park fund that would help with the erosion control. I got a quote for riprap, and it was about 4 times more, at least.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, so this basically I'm just requesting to move forward with phase 1 for the erosion shoreline restoration.
So in your phase 1, are all of these things that you're hoping to accomplish? So shoreline restoration will be first, and then landscaping, then the sidewalk accessibility, and then finishing the docks.
Yeah.
And is that all trying to hopefully get that done this year? Or is this all phase 1 going to be out over a couple of years?
The Pine City Lions, I forgot to add them. We're working with the old fishing pier, and they think that we can save it with the floats and lumber. So they want me to get that to the shop, and they want to redeck it while it's there, and then we'll move it officially. So the first phase or step would be the shoreline restoration to get the dock to have a place to go, basically, so, from the shore.
Any other questions from council members?
Couple of concerns. So obviously we would change the shoreline and how people use it. I know one of the big things right now is fishing. Going to switch to looks like native grasses or pollinator friendly grasses. Are they going to hold up if people decide to keep fishing through there? Then the second question I have is that pollinator friendly species are great when they're initially planted, and they usually work good for 1 to 2 years. But what is our long-term maintenance plan for it? Are we going to mow that, or are we going to burn that?
The Pine County Soil and Water gave me a bunch of different species, and I'm trusting their professional opinion on plugs that are going in. It'll be naturally grown 15 feet from the shore, and do like a cedar fence next to the sidewalk that we want to put in. As far as, weeds go, you're going to have that no matter what, and we'll just have to control it as it goes.
Yeah, I know what they're trying to get at, but at some point you're going to have to do maintenance to keep it with native pollinator friendly species. Otherwise, it's going to turn into that, or weeds, or it's going to get disturbed. So I think we need to have some kind of management plan in place to keep it fresh and make it look pollinator friendly and all the flowers, and not just turn it into a bunch of tall grass that looks terrible that we end up having to cut down and destroy our grass. So I would like to have some kind of plan in place. Are we going to mow that on a certain rotation, or are we going to burn that on a certain rotation? And if you're going to put any kind of cedar planking there, I don't know that burning it would be a good plan. But I think you have some individuals that can help come up with that plan too. Yeah, between Public Works, Fire and Life, and Department. But I certainly don't want to start a park on fire. But I also don't want to just let it go wild and have it turn into a crappy appearance right by the river.
Right.
we'll say, and this is just my experience, and this is not anywhere near the same as a river shoreline, but I know we planted a bunch of native plants in the boulevard in front of our house, and amazing the amount that wood chips alone, there took 10 minutes to weed this summer or this spring so far, whereas the rest of the garden beds are as tall as I am at this point. But just to throw that out there. But
And in that too, in that shoreline buffer, will that still be usable park space then? Behind that fence, or are you trying to keep people out of that area once?
So the DNR has a thing called, Tabitha and I have been talking with Mary with the DNR. They have shoreline fishing things that you can get a grant for. So we basically just a little trail down to like a pad. There's a couple different kinds. Those aren't on this presentation, but if we were to do that so we can control where people walk down to, I think we'd have good luck with that.
I'm only asking because I will be out.
and if you put a fence up along the river and don't provide adequate access, people will provide their own adequate.
Right.
And your thoughts are gonna be in docks anyway, so you're thinking the docks would take care of the area, but some people like to just fish off
Yeah,
shore.
walk down the shore.
So if you
Especially
have
if
a
it's
little
tree
path,
cover.
that would probably need to maybe publicize that that's gonna be there.
So you'd still have the fishing pier that's there now. A lot of people think we're getting rid of that. No, it's not it. We're taking the old fishing pier, refurbishing it to make it a mooring dock. And then the one that's there, that's in the pictures, right there, that little guy, that's gonna just be another fishing dock on the end. So it's kind of an overflow, I guess you could say.
The space between, gosh, I don't know how much that's necessarily public land, but the space between Thomas Park and the railroad bridge is not changing in any shape or form, right? So you still have the shore fishing from that parking lot area or that big path down there.
Yeah. Different area.
With all the parties involved in the event, if for something 20 years from now it didn't work out, it turned into a disaster zone, or we had to step in, what is our ability to change it without having any financial impacts or upsetting the parties involved? Do we have any out ability, or are we locked into their prescription?
I mean, no one's really officially set funds yet. So right now it's volunteer. There's 1,600 plugs that we would have to plant with that shoreline thing, which would help keep the cost down. Basically, the funds would be for lumber for the dock, and then the pavilion eventually, and then sidewalk and miscellaneous stuff at the end there on the presentation.
And I guess just the biggest thing is what's attached to those funds? Are they just given free and clear, or is there going to be restrictions?
I would imagine it's kind of like, Robinson Park was a Lions project, the gazebo. Voyager Park gazebo was a Lions project. The ball fields building was, it's just by the gracious donations of these clubs. So, I mean, we could do a contract, I guess, but I don't know.
Typically with our Lions Club, it's a donation request that comes before the club, and then the club votes on the donation request, and if it's approved, it's a gift. There's no strings attached, if you will. It's more about just interjecting good into the community wherever we can.
And it's, I've given this presentation to the Pine Area Lions, the Pine City Lions, or my Lions, and then I'll give it to the Rock Creek Lions. So they know basically if they were to donate money, whether it be time, money, that's what it would be going for.
How many mooring slips can you get on there?
It kind of depends. I mean, you could park, either way, or if it's a fishing boat, but it'd be about 6, I think.
So we would essentially double the amount of boats that park and walk into town. It's 5 now, right? That's pretty cool.
I think it's great. I just want to make sure that the funds don't come with some kind of interesting language that we didn't make public.
Yeah.
So,
And I can say, I'll skip ahead a couple agenda items, but there's a request for council action for a $1,000 donation from the Northern Lights Lions on here. And I was not at that meeting, but there was no, we don't typically give out money like that, but we're a small club. We don't have the time to track that down and follow up with that. So that donation would be given to the city for this project to the best of our abilities, basically, to the best of the city's abilities. If that clears things up. So what are you looking for from us, Brock? Are you looking for approval to keep moving forward with phase one?
Yep.
Or
Approval to use that dedicated park funds for the 25%, the 4,200, and that was a high number. That was with a contingency basically. So I put the high number on it. 424056 was the high with volunteer labor of planting things. And then the county would cover 75%. And that's going on the June 1st. And the Krista Arney, she said, I don't feel there will be any issue going forward with that. So if you want to approve it with the approval of the county, obviously. So we'll move forward with that. So what they do is they kill everything plant-wise on the ground. It's an aqua safe. Obviously they know what they're doing with that, and then they come in and assess what needs to be added and put locks down for erosion control, and we move from there. So
when we kill it, we're killing both grass and trees.
just grass.
Perfect. Any other questions for Brock?
I applaud you for this plan, and I really applaud you for looking at the different ways to maintain the shoreline. And I really like that you didn't pick riprap. And I think this is a much better look, easier to maintain, less expensive, and more cost. And reaching out and networking that the way that you are with all of these service groups is commendable. Really good job. This is really encouraging. Where's the fuel station?
So I'll make the motion that we move forward with phase one pending the county's approval. With the caveat that I want you to come up with that I would like to see a maintenance plan for how we make sure that the pollinator friendly species don't just get left alone, whether it's on a mowing or a burning plan, so that we keep that vibrant and fresh and not looking like crap in 5 years.
All right, we've got a motion from crowd to move forward with phase one with a maintenance plan. Do I hear a second?
Okay.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion?
The Master Gardener is my favorite organization to talk to about. They're real good.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. All right, next up, 8.5, request for council action, dredging the beach backwaters.
So over the years, the beach has a lot of stuff drains that way. And you look at the pictures. I actually had a friend of mine do drone footage through that area. It's between beavers and bogs lifting. It's become quite a mess, and it doesn't drain the way it should. And it goes to a very small culvert to try to get to the river. So I'd like council action to hire a special company it's a floating, backhoe basically. And they can open this up 15 feet all the way to the river.
So in that last picture, you can kind of see from where the culvert is, there's almost a straight line up through where you can see water, where it would be the trail that they would follow.
And if you actually drive down that road, maybe not now, but at that time, the river was lower than that area. So it's just way too slow a drain, and it comes up in the beach, causing stuff and bogs to go on the beach, and then it goes over the volleyball court and hopefully not into that multi-use new asphalt area. Trying to prevent that from backing up because it goes from the new liquor store area to that pond, and then it flows underneath the road and then comes through there. All that area is coming right through a 24-inch culvert. As you can see, that's the culvert's pretty much right where her mouse is, right there. So it's just turning a big mess.
And so when beavers do clog it up, we have to use a tire that we have hooked up with a cable, and then we pull it through back and forth as the beavers clog it up. And so ideally, speaking with the DNR, if in the future we could expand that to a 4-foot culvert, that would eliminate the beaver damage. And then also that with the dredging, that would deepen a swimway to allow fish with a 4-foot culvert to be able to access that back pond. That would be better for conservation and for people for fishing and whatnot.
This also help, I know in the past, it's been a few years, but it's the beach I know gets from the amount of like goose droppings and things like that. It needs to be treated or needs to be shut down. Do you think that this would help with some inflow and
I would
outflow
think
to
so.
keep it?
Anytime you can make water move or run,
It's gonna
that's
keep
why
it
they
from
put those
stagnating.
sprinklers
It
in
definitely
ponds.
would.
We're gonna end up with muskies in the swim area.
Bull sharks.
Baby shark.
Sturgeon.
And these are mostly invasive species that you're removing anyway, right?
Yes, it's so basically what they're doing is they're grabbing just the top layer and they're able to shake the debris loose and whatever, and what they hang on to, they're able to pile, and then we have to remove from site. So they would pile by the road and then we would haul out.
Have you gone out for other estimates or bids on this project?
I have not. This is kind of one of those,
They're the only company.
and they're very well known with other municipalities. They got a list of places there.
Yeah, but my caveat is I wonder if we're supposed to go out for three estimates in whatever capacity on this one.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's, what was it? One side was 11,000, one was 8.
No. 11 total.
11 total. Okay.
8 and
So
3.
it's 8 and 3. So 11,000 total, and so would that require a 3 estimate?
Or policy thing. Oh, that was over. I thought it was 5.
Is it 5? Okay.
Over 5, I thought it just needed council approval.
But I thought the council could request estimates of the inclines.
Sure.
I do understand, and I have heard, I think there is probably gonna be one at the end of it, but this is something that I would like to put out for 3 estimates in my.
Is there 3 companies to contact to do it?
I mean, if we have to contact out of state, we can.
I think that's.
If you want those estimates. But we can do a little more digging to see if there is.
I have, there's 2 things that pop into my head. You're pulling bids from out of state unless they're from Grantsburg. That's gonna be an immediate, you're just getting a quote to get a quote. Which I understand purchasing policy and all that sort of thing, so if we have to get 3 quotes, that's what it is. But also, I don't know that this is necessarily something where we want.
How far is this gonna delay? Is this something you want to get done fairly soon?
I mean, look,
the only caveat for many years, we had concerns about the city only going to certain contractors, immediately over and over and over. We had many complaints about people that they never had the option to pursue things at the city level. Maybe we don't go out of state, maybe we just have to list that we're looking for contractors for 2 weeks. At least some kind of transparency so that if there is anybody else out there, that gives them an opportunity. But
Is the bid on there?
The bid,
Online.
not necessarily too late, but I think it definitely dramatically increases the chances that someone's gonna come in. Yeah,
I really honestly have no idea who else could do that. And we've got permission from DNR, Army Corps. This guy, Matamita, Sibley County, Chisholm, Swanville, Hoffman, Carpenter Nature Center, Swan Lake, Wisconsin, Drummond, Wisconsin, Schofield, Wisconsin, Chippewa National Forest.
I guess it's
Pretty well known.
I would much, especially when we're dealing with DNR and Army Corps, I would much rather deal with a guy that has dealt with these folks in the past and knows what he's doing versus someone that thinks they're gonna make a quick buck and can move some muck for us and throws out a low ball bid, and then all of a sudden we're up a creek without a paddle. Something's over their head.
I mean, anyone could take stuff out of the water, but to have a floating thing that can take stuff out of the water, is a little different.
Would widening the openings by these culverts that we have there now help the situation with the beavers or not? Or
I think it's a two-part process. So this would create flow. So where you can see it's just stagnant, we have filtration due to the roots from the vegetation. So water is going to back up whether you put a bigger culvert or not because of the vegetation. So if you create an open waterway, it's going to allow that bigger culvert when we put that in to flow more evenly.
It's kind of like the county has drainage channels all over the county. They keep those open so stuff flows the way it should and where they want it.
unfortunately, we just spent a bunch of money redoing that street. I'm not too crazy about digging it up.
Just gonna say the
Yeah,
same
so,
thing. I
you
think
know,
it
that
needs
should have
to-
been done when we were.
And I wasn't here.
Yeah,
for
no,
that, so-
I'm not saying you weren't, I'm just saying, I'd have a hard time digging that up.
I mean, I think
We did talk about that at one point, but it would have been expensive. I don't know that you're gonna get the same flow regardless of what you want, just because of how the channel moves through there, how that's bay and how it's gonna be blocked out. You're probably gonna get more flow, I'm not gonna disregard that, but I don't think you're gonna get heavy flow.
Well, I can tell you right now that culvert was installed improperly because when I went out with the inspectors, or with the, not the inspectors, but the DNR, thank you. One side of the culvert was completely underwater, the other culvert had this much airspace over the top, whereas they're supposed to be installed even. So first of all, the culvert wasn't installed properly. So if we were to install it properly, we would have to rebuff the road. And I've been looking at costs for us renting equipment to do it ourselves. And also, I haven't reached out to contractors yet, but I've been figuring out how the process works with us having Kirby's company, because he's our contracting company, about looking into what his prices would be for renting him with equipment, and then I could get multiple other prices as well from other companies.
Well, I think that's another phase. I don't think that has to be done during this cleaning.
No, but this would be the first step.
That would be something that I really appreciated, you brought that in during budget time. And we look at it at that time, because it's still a line item, and unless you've got money sitting somewhere that hasn't been used.
I found, there's been a chunk in the sewer that's machinery and equipment that hasn't been used in years, and that's 80,000. That I thought we could use this budget that budget to take over this project.
Right. Well, I don't want to sound like I'm disagreeing with you. If we've got $80,000, I get a couple of spots in town that constituents are a little bit miffed about the way the condition of the street. I'd rather see the money fixing the streets than fixing the culvert that we
Which-
could wait for another year.
We're getting started next week. Our patcher is just getting repaired right now with the axles, getting the maintenance done on it. And we're starting next week, which we do have in the budget for starting. We have a separate repair section for that, but I was not part of making this last budget, so I'm just working with what I have.
I understand that. It's, you're not on trial. What I'm saying is, we're dealing with money, and we have limited money. And when we do budget, I think budget should be used for money, why it was budgeted for. In the past, is previous councils have just robbed from Peter to pay Paul, and I don't think that's the way we do things. I think we find a little more, Ed.
I don't disagree with you, but I do disagree with the fact that we could have a couple big rainstorms and that without replacing that culvert, that's gonna cost a lot more than whatever the cost of putting a culvert is after the road washes away.
We've been dealing with this culvert since I was the mechanic.
We have had a lot of rainstorms, and I hate everything about this road, not just the culvert, but the road, the lack of utilities that go back to that development back there. It's been on my radar for a long time, and I would like to fully renovate the whole thing, if we ever find the money for that. But it is kind of a challenge with the whole culvert thing, and I don't, the worry that we're gonna try and go down something and find more and more and more that we have to keep dumping money into at that option. Like your idea, I'm nervous about your idea. Every time we try and do little projects in Pine City, it seems like it turns into a giant hole of just money that we throw down. Sure, Dave would talk about our security system.
See, I disagree. It's a brand new road. You saw cut that thing, take the asphalt out, dig it up, put the culvert in. You got the material. It's all fresh. Put it back on, reseal it. Run the cracks. You're done. Not much. There's not much that you can run into from the top of asphalt to bottom of culvert at this point.
And we've been dealing with it at a smaller size for this long, and it's just only an improvement.
I would make a motion that we approve the dredging of the beach backwaters after advertising it for public bid for 7 days. If nothing's received after 7 days, then move forward with the bid. That would be my motion.
The challenge is that the current bid is currently public.
That's already public. That would be unfair to that current bidder.
We've done it before.
That is true.
Is there, and I just want to make sure there's some sort of insurance or certification that they have to work with the Army Corps, and just again, I just want to avoid John, who's gonna thinks I can do this and make a quick buck on the way, and I got a pontoon that I can throw some weeds on.
Yeah, so it'd have to be a qualified bid. It would have to be a company that is, I mean, it, like you said, it can't be Joe and Bob coming up with machetes and, you know, somebody that's qualified to do this type of work that's done it before.
The council always has the ability to, I think, overrule the low bid and go with the qualified bid. I am nervous about putting it out for 7 days and getting just what the mayor's talking about is a couple of people on a pontoon with machetes or whatever. But I don't like the fact that we didn't make this public first and held the estimates until we came back and at least had it out for 7 days or 14. We went through this with a predecessor about getting multiple bids and always going to the same people. And it seems like we're kind of starting to slide back into that.
I promise I don't know
Well,
I mean,
if you need us to, we can do our diligence. With a little bit of time, we can try our best and come up with other options. And then if you guys would allow the next amount of time, we do our due diligence of finding someone. And if we find who we find, we can present to you.
going back to that culvert, that cost about doing it ourselves and stuff, does that include the engineering cost?
There is no engineering in a culvert. It just takes,
You're gonna cut into a road without any.
absolutely. Put a laser up there, figure out your elevations. You got monuments there for elevations to go off because I just did the road. Shoot it in, you figure it out. It's just a little bit of math. Put it in, backfill it, compact it, re-asphalt. And away you go.
I applaud that because it seems like we hire an engineer to do everything.
That's just my opinion based on my experience. I'm not trying to speak.
The biggest issue is just when you take that out, you can get a metal plate. And this is, of course, the next steps. We're here talking about the dredging. But we can do that ourselves. I've installed culverts myself before with other cities, and it is doable without engineering.
Okay. Just was wondering, that's why I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
All right, at this point, we do have a motion on the floor from Dan to post for 7 days and approve the lowest qualified bid. At that point, was that?
No, I would say if we don't get anything else, go with the bid that you have. Move forward with what you have.
But if other bids come in, then it comes back to compare to council. Okay.
I think we should, you mentioned lowest qualified bid in there, and I would stay away from the language of lowest, and I would just say the most qualified bid.
Yes. No amend to qualified.
Okay, so a motion from Dan to post for 7 days. If any other qualified bids comes back for review from council. Otherwise, we move forward with the proposal. Is that accurate? Yep. All right.
You sure we can't get Jim's on back, shoot them beavers like you?
I haven't really seen much beaver.
That's
what worries me.
They used to think
If
that
we
was
did-
great fun out there.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not there because there's not much flow.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll second the motion.
All right, second from Dave. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up, 8.6, Voyager Bottle Shop Phase 3 agreement.
So Tommy's here to present that, or if council has any questions, phase 3 was added to the agenda.
Council comments, we need a couple seconds to digest what came to us today.
Yeah, we did have this to the city attorney as well.
I read through it, but only one.
Yes, just so that we make it public comment, the final fees all together. I know it's in here, but can we just publicly state, because it seems like people wonder how this all goes, is how are those final fees gonna be put onto the city, or how is the city gonna pay? Perfect.
And I guess the biggest concern that I have at this point in time is if we approve phase 3, then we're 100 grand into this. If we pull the ripcord to stop the project, we don't know what our rent's gonna be yet. And that makes me I feel like we're spending money to not quite know how much we're going to have to spend for rent lease payments in the future. Are we close to a point where that can be public, or is that something that you've had conversations with Laura about and everyone's comfortable? If we're approving financials and things like here, we're just kind of throwing a dart at the wall right now. So that's.
And I'll be honest, I've been asked that same question. So I guess a little help coming our way. That's easier.
And we're building a road. Delineation stuff all done. Good. Phase two. Everything was submitted the other day for all that. So, we have like 220 by whatever that reader.
So are you saying now that if you had a little more time, that you just got some of these figures back? And some of these plans and stuff that you would be able to give us a figure or?
Well, we'll have a pretty decent estimate. Building will cost, but then it'll go into our, we're gonna use it. We're gonna do all the coolers, or how we finish it inside. 9,200 square foot building. Two concrete floors and ceiling, a lot cheaper than check it out.
This is a question for Laura then. Are you anticipating using the old coolers?
I believe that when we talked about it, we are gonna use some of the things, the coolers would not be one of them. Those coolers were there long before I was there. And they're not efficient, we're not gonna use them. The only thing that's good on them is the doors, because the only thing that's been replaced since I started there was the doors. But, I think that it's like, if I was gonna build my own house, you don't know from the very beginning exactly what it's gonna cost you. So we're still gathering all of those little pieces to figure out. And I think, like Tommy said, within probably a month, we'll be super close to knowing what that figure is gonna be.
Can I ask you a question? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you know roughly what you spend a year in building maintenance, like HVAC, repairs, things that you have to do to the building?
We typically budget $10,000 to $12,000. Typically go over a little bit.
And those are expenses that we wouldn't have in this building.
And we have had, I mean, I'll be honest, you guys voted to not fix our air conditioner last year. So we have one that works instead of two. Because it was at the end of the season. We've had our furnace go out in the middle of the winter before where we had to just buy a brand new furnace. You know, it's kind of, it's like owning an old house.
And I don't want it to sound as though I'm against this project. I think it's a great deal. I still think it's will be fantastic for growth for our community. I have to disagree with you. If I'm building a house, I think I have a ballpark of what I'm going to spend. I'm not going to go in thinking I'm spending $100 grand and I'm going to spend 500 grand. So I just.
I agree with
you. Also have a set of blueprints.
And I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of the cost and everyone's comfortable with the cost before we get ourselves into a position that.
So going right back. You're right on.
How does that go with your figure? I mean, how does that compare to what Marshall did? I guess.
It was 9,600. 9,200. That's annual or monthly?
We haven't done the terms yet, so I guess keep that for ourselves.
I think when we first sat down, we were talking about somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 a month, and we're getting at like on the high end.
How is that compared to any of the other districts projects? Is that comparable, do you know, or?
Well, I think that this is a interesting situation for us because he's basically the banker for us.
Right.
So we're not going out and bonding or doing anything like that. I know that most of those other cities either have taken cash out of their reserves, which our cash reserves have been used for other things within the city, or they've had the bond. And so lots of places have gone out as long as they can and they pay more if they can because they want to still be able to make transfers into their general funds and things like that. And I mean, that's the same thing that we've been talking about. Yeah. We want to make sure that if we need to go 30 years instead of 20 years, so we can still transfer money into the general fund to lessen the burden on the taxpayers, that's what we would do.
So you're not sold on 30 years. You could go 20 years. Is that, I mean, that's kind of what I heard you say.
We've talked
Yeah,
about
it depends on what I do. Okay, 30-year financing.
Okay.
What the, I mean, it wouldn't be a,
But we wouldn't be locked to that.
we would, no, I mean,
Okay.
you're gonna be.
Okay. I just trying to figure out how I would do it. Okay.
But so you know, we have a letter of intent from other companies to go in, and we have a letter of interest from other companies to go in. So that change. Kind of our whole focus so far has been to maximize the amount of traffic that's coming. So we've had some interest from some other retail that I don't think would be a good fit. And if you look at the drawing that I gave you on the parking area. And into the north area. And and come over later. Night here tomorrow. And get down. Campers and boats. Yeah, so right now we have 4 parking spots for campers and boats.
I think it'd be better to have more, especially on the holidays.
And I was just going through with Seth from Rum River today of I'll make that parking lot even better. But I'll make the radius bigger. There. Radius, I think it's fair for a camper behind that wheel.
That never happens.
Yeah.
Laura, at your current capacity, current facility, if that was the high end, you currently have the ability to meet that requirement.
in the current facility, absolutely not.
So you're gonna really have to be selling to meet that higher amount and putting money back into some coffers.
Yes.
I think that's the most important thing that I love this project. I think it's awesome. I think the liquor store is great. I think the change in venue is great. I think everything about it is great. But I can't lose sight of the fact that we cannot, as a city, afford to not have that same transfer that we've had, that around $100,000 or more transfer every year to the city, the general fund. I think if we lose that, then that defeats the whole purpose of this whole project. Just to throw it all on the table, that in my mind.
If you look at the other cities that have South River, I mean, opinion, but I don't think there's any way that city liquor store doesn't generate more sales, having more traffic and 3 times, 5 times, 4 times the space.
And And I don't disagree with it at all. I don't disagree with that. That's just, I think we all, I need to state the gravity of the situation before I can make one conscious better. We have nothing. But
Is there a way we can set a date or something that we can get together and talk about this a little more seriously as far as the lease agreement? I mean, is that, I know it's in the future, but how far in the future? I mean,
I'll have like concrete stuff back and we're trying to keep it on track.
would be nice to, we wouldn't, probably not enough time to get before the council meeting on June 3rd, but possibly the 7th, right before the 17th of June.
Or
Maybe call a special session.
or you can go out for the $35.
I was trying to go on 25 or 20. No, I understand. Well, I don't know how you guys feel.
And again, I did, you could spend $1.5 million difference on.
Plastic toilet seats. This is a,
When we get down to it, I mean, there'll be a big dollar change in rent depending on how we get.
Me, there's risk, but there's risk in anything that you do, and there's unknown in anything that you do. And sometimes you just have to trust the process and the people that are employing the process. I try to tell people that want to talk about this, and I try to remember too that we are one small anchor in a gigantic project that's going to impact this community. With housing units, with additional retail, everything that the comprehensive plan has told us to do, this project encompasses. So it is, Mr. Mayor, I completely agree with you that there's a lot of unknown that's scary, but that's the risk of doing business. So the
other thing that the city portion of it is what the bid was to do the liquor store engineering. My cost was $287,000. Into it.
Would encourage council to reach out to the cities in Minnesota who have gone through this and move their location to an access point that had the higher traffic. Going to MMBA with Laura this last month, we talked to everyone who would sit and talk with us about what it did. And we were that little sponge soaking up everything and what it did to their community and the relief it gave to the residents and their tax base. It was, I know, I agree. It's big, it's unknown, but I would encourage everyone to reach out to those cities who've gone through this because they have no regrets. I couldn't speak to one person who had a regret of doing this. So
the 109,000 represents like you said, the plans and the blueprints for everything. I remember going through a situation multiple times at an old city hall building where we spent at least that, if not more, getting plans. I think by the time we got done just getting the plans, we were probably about $1 million in with all the different consulting services. And then we sold it for 100,000. We had that money sitting around somewhere. Can we apply it somewhere?
we have not.
I think Mr. Swanson is correct, that no matter what venture you go down, it's a risk. And I think we have to roll the dice. I mean, we just rolled the dice with a $1.9 million ladder truck. And it seems like we're pushing in a direction of development. I'll make the motion that we move forward with phase 3.
I've got a motion from Kyle to move forward with phase 3. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dan. Any further discussion?
Oh, yeah, I'll go down in flames. Why not?
All those in favor of moving forward with phase 3 of the new Voyager bottle shop, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up, 8.7, request for council action review and accept the new Minnesota DNR rates.
Chief Miller, are you presenting on this? Okay, sorry.
Can't let him off without anything to say.
Can have it in my notes.
Mayor and council, I was able to meet with the Minnesota DNR and I was able to get rates for when they put on staff, use us on wildland fires or whatever. Raised, and just some examples, if you will. I don't know if you went through the whole document, but like the short answer is for a call out, it's still $500. They wouldn't bump on that, but engines went from $275 an hour to $310 an hour. Tenders went from $230 an hour to $260 an hour. Our track vehicles went from $140 an hour to $170 an hour. And our UTVs went from $60 to $75 an hour. So that's kind of the highlights out of it. And just wanted to bring it to the council and get this confirmed by the council so we can move forward with this through forestry.
How have you done this year with red flags? Have we been doing any kind of staff interbilling for the DNR currently, or?
Yes. I believe it's 6 days. We've staffed a crew, 5 or 6. For the DNR, they haven't turned the wheel, but we still get paid a standby rate. That's half of the firefighting rate. And the fire that we had on the south end of Pekegama, where we were out for 6 hours ish, we did pretty well on. Long story short, I think that year to date we're right around $12,000 billed to the Minnesota DNR. Well, it will be billed. We're probably about 9,900 right now.
Enough to put that culvert in. Just saying.
The gift that keeps on giving.
I don't like where you're thinking.
These guys get money and they're all getting earmarked there. I'll let you touch it.
I'd make a motion that we accept the new Minnesota DNR rates.
It's too much fun today.
All right, motion from Dan to accept the new rates. Do I hear a second?
Yes.
Second from Dave. Any further discussion?
I have one question. So the DNR rates is what we base other rates for contractual aid agreements. Are those gonna come back for change, or are we gonna stay with the DNR rates?
I didn't have, it is a great question, but I will say that I didn't have a chance to actually read the verbiage out of the contract, but I believe in the contract, Marcy, correct me if I'm wrong. I would really want to refer to that contract with that aid agreement, but I believe that it mirrors our DNR rates.
So are they gonna be inadvertently increased without notification if we adopt the new DNR rates, or are they gonna be under the 2026? Correct.
Yeah, I don't really want to, I don't know the proper answer to that until after I go through that, with that mindset going through their contract. I'm assuming that, well, there's 2 ways. It depends on how it's called out. If it's called out that we're using our current rates, then I think we just have to send that to them for next year, because I think we had to we could only update by that contract once a year. Then what you recall?
That contract's yearly.
Correct.
Yep.
I guess that's the only question I would have revolving around that. That would make me feel a little bit uncomfortable at this time.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Are you still comfortable with your motion that's on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion by Dan and a second from Dave to approve these new rates. Any further discussion from council? Here none, we'll proceed with the vote. All those in favor of approving the new DNR rates, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up is item number 8.8, resolution 2026-28, accept donation to Pine City Fire Department from Pine City Smoke Eaters.
As a financial officer of the Smoke Eaters, I'm gonna have to completely abstain from all discussion and vote on this matter.
And just as the resolution states, this is a donation to the Pine City Fire Department from the Pine City Smoke Eaters, and asking for council to approve this donation, and we will get a thank you letter out to the Smoke Eaters for their generous donation.
How easy are these units to use? The ones back in the 70s and 80s were really rough.
You push the power button.
Then I could handle this. Is that what you're saying?
You push the power button, you have to it's serious. You push the power button and you can't touch any other buttons until it's ready to go. Those are how you get it in the calibration, and they have to have their calibration and everything done.
You don't have to specify which gas you're looking
No,
for.
they would monitor all 4 gases at the same time.
Okay.
Great, any further discussion from
We
council?
had to use cartridges and stuff, but things were antiques. You still got them?
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve resolution 2026-28?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dave, yeah. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dan. Any further discussion?
I would just really like to say thank you to anybody and everybody involved with Pine City Smoke Eaters. It's really been a great organization that's come online here in the last couple of years. It's done a lot of great things for the community. So thank you, everybody involved.
Well, I'll add to that, Kent, I'll add that we approved resolution 2026-28. I didn't have that.
All right, we've got a motion from Dave to approve 2026-28 and second Dan. As this is a resolution, we will proceed with the roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, that motion carries. All right, next up is resolution 2026-29, accepting a donation from the Pine County Northern Lights Lines for Shalene Park improvements. And with this, I will say I am the treasurer of the Northern Lights Lines, so from this I will abstain from comments and voting.
In the group, do I have to abstain too?
I think if you're a board member, you have to abstain, but if you're a general member, you don't.
I'm a member of the board of the Pine County Northern Light Lines, so I'll have to abstain as well.
Oh, it gets us. So we are.
The one thing I would like to say is that I really appreciate this generous donation and like to thank the Lions, the Northern Lights Lions for this. They do a lot of good in our community too, so I'll make the motion that we approve that.
I'll second.
Motion from Kyle, second from Dave. Any further discussion?
You're gonna read the resolution.
Resolution 2026-29. Sorry.
I just want to make this official.
Yeah. We do have.
And I'll second this resolution.
We do legally have enough votes for this, right?
Is that cool? Because there's.
Yeah.
Yeah, my.
Well, it's a majority.
We're for them.
It is a majority.
It's a majority, that's all I have.
So we will.
It can't be a quorum because what's the.
So no, I don't. That third year deputy clerk, so,
2 out of 4 isn't technically a majority, but if it's valid voting members.
Yeah, that's still it's the majority of valid
Voting members, but we don't technically have a quorum.
We're
I don't
quorum
think there's
meeting,
another way to do it, so.
but two that have to abstain, So you have two voting members.
So you do want
It's the
majority.
majority of the voting members that would pass it.
Then we would proceed with our roll call vote. Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mr. Hill.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
No.
All right, next up, we will move on to committee updates. Starting off with the HRA committee. We met yesterday. I remember last council meeting, we had some questions about the $40,000 that was moved. I got some clarification on that yesterday. So those were capital funds that are distributed from HUD. They told that they were earmarked for the foundation project, and HUD actually told us, you guys have to do something with these funds or you're going to lose them if you don't spend them this year. The funds can be used for capital improvements and or operations of the facility. So that's why they were transferred into the operating budget. And I believe most of them will be, or a significant portion of them will be spent on this flooring project that was the water leak project that just happened within the past month or so. So everything is on the up and up. It was actually HUD that notified our folks that you got to spend these or move these or you're going to lose them. But we were informed by SMR. HUD holds the funds until they're drawn down into the account. So until we can actually spend those funds or have them marked, the federal government holds on to them. After that, there was some discussion about the Section 18 disposition and moving that forward, and what the plans look like for that. Get my other notes here. We're looking into having, there was an update from our tenant advocacy meeting that Mr. Olson and I had with the HHS director at the county. The hope is to expand on that. The Human Services Director was very willing to meet with SMR staff and create a relationship and see if there was anything that Health and Human Services could offer them. Building upon that, it was recommended by one of our board members that we look into having a seminar for not only the Hillside Court tenants, but for tenants in anywhere in Pine City that are looking for tenants rights and looking for an advocacy, answering questions and things like that. So that will be on our upcoming agendas. Our strategic plan expired this last year. So we're beginning the process of rewriting the strategic plan for the Pine City HRA. Briefly, I think it was sent out that we would ask for and look and see what other HRAs have for theirs, and then start working on the process of deciding whether we consult with a consultant for writing a new strategic plan, or if we can, that's something that we can handle. Other than that, I think water leak was fixed. The plumber that did the work never applied for a permit. So SMR is holding payment until that gets resolved.
The bill came in at $14,500.
$14,500 to replace that section of floor and repair the leak.
Plus permits.
Plus permit.
Not a contract and that, I mean, they hired this guy, did they sign a contract and the contract say that he was supposed to pull the proper permit for?
I know that SMR has notified the plumber that they will not be paying the bill till the permits are taken care of.
Well, that part I appreciate because I can't believe that anybody in that type of business would think they could just come into the town and do that without checking up on the permit. But nothing surprises me. I've been involved in it.
I mean, when they find a professional services, isn't that part of their outline for professional services that they have to go through that whole process, or do they just call up the first person in the phone book and say, come over here and fix it?
I'm not sure of the operations. I guess
The same RFP process, right? It's supposed to be 3 because it's government money.
I don't know if it's an emergency or if there's something, that I am not familiar with. Maybe we can look into, we'll add that to a future agenda to look into that, to see if things do need to go up for RFPs. Obviously, if there's no heat in the building, that's not something that you could necessarily go in it's people's homes. You can't necessarily go up for an RFP for that, but,
So I guess what is the current impact if we don't have the permits for it? Is that location allowed to have occupancy since we don't have permits? Or
SMR, the property management group, is working with Rum River. Thankfully, they took a bunch of pictures of the entire process. It sounded like at the meeting that Rum River is satisfied with the pictures they received, still angry at the
Process.
at the process or at the company. It seems that the saving grace was that someone took a lot of pictures so that they don't have to deal with. I guess in my mind, it's no different than we have a hailstorm and you have a bunch of fly-by-night roofing companies come by. Some of them file for permits, and some of them are in and out of town before the city even catches wind to get out the roof. So that's just kind of the name of the game. Who would come to a city or a city-owned building and not pull permits is a little wild to me, because if anybody's going to catch it, it's going to be a city building that's going to catch it. But that's
For me, my concern is this is just me. Someone that's managing the building and does this professionally, and this is what they do, doesn't know to check for permits on a major mechanical fix before it's done is a gigantic problem. That's fine.
I guess I can't speak like, if I use the roofing example was because that's what I've had done on my property. The guy came to me, said, here's my quote, I'm gonna put a new roof on your house. And I get it, it's different being a residential homeowner versus a in the commercial business industry. But this is before I was involved in the city. This is before I was an elected official. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Here's my insurance. Run it. Yep, it works. I wouldn't have had any clue had he gotten a permit or not. The only reason I knew he got a permit is when the assessor came back out and said, hey, we're here to inspect your new roof. So
but ignorance of the law doesn't make you compliant. The challenge again goes back to the management. I get your point. Never would have guessed that, but we are in that situation. If Rum River comes back and says they don't accept it, now they have to dig it up. That opens up a lot of things for exposure, and it goes, in my mind, it goes back to advocacy for the tenants because they're the ones that are exposed to this dangerous situation.
Did any of them get displaced?
No, it's just in the main corridor hallway.
So it didn't affect any of the apartments.
It didn't, I don't know if it affected travel too, or if some people had to use a different door, different access, but it was just in
the plastic up instead of doors.
Huh?
The units, right? Didn't one of the units have a plastic inside the door?
That was
The area under work was plastic wall off. And however, if you look towards the end, there's an exit door and then someone's apartment door is right there as well.
I guess from an emergency standpoint, if something were to happen, was this communicated to life safety in the fire department for a plan, or was
And this
this just
hole in the floor was left open for 5 days.
oh, that's perfect.
Tom always carries a sheetrock knife so he can slice that plastic.
Yeah, but
Jesus, where'd this outfit come from? Podunk heaven? I mean, my God.
Yeah, and I guess like I can place a little bit of, I can definitely place a little, most of the blame on the contractor, but I guess part of my frustrations were being very hard. If SMR screwed up, SMR screwed up. But that being said, there have been city staff in every single one of these HRA meetings when this has been brought up. So I guess in my mind, we also should have caught that there wasn't a permit pulled. When at least 2 members of city staff are at all these HRA meetings, wouldn't that be something that we It could also be, it being it's our building, we are
We
also.
didn't know if the repair though.
Yeah, I thought it
We
was
knew-
HRA's building. I thought it wasn't our building.
They're a remote function of the city.
So
I'm
the
just
first
asking
time I
for
heard of the-
clarification, because I got called out, corrected in a public meeting. So is it our building or is it the HRA's?
It's the HRA's building with the HRA is loosely associated.
So it's not our building. I'm just asking because I got called out by that citizen that sits in the HRA.
That's the best answer I can give.
We knew there's foundation damage, but this particular repair, the first I heard of it was when I received the email.
We talked about it at the previous HRA meeting, and they said there are hot spots in the floor. We're gonna call a plumber and he's gonna come in and start work.
I think we were at the MBA.
Well, I have to apologize because I drove by there and I seen them jackhammering the door frames out in that area, and I thought, maybe I should stop, but I was busy. I had something going on. I'll stop there tomorrow, see what's going on, just curiously. I should have stopped.
I suppose
That
at
was
this
good
point, we're kind of beating a dead horse, but how do we put some constraints in place so that this kind of stuff stops happening?
And that, like, I'll bring it up at our next meeting and see what, I would assume that SMR has operational controls or all, like, that we are not by far, not their only property that they manage. So I guess I will bring it up at the next meeting and see if that's a HRA level policy that we have to build out in Pine City, or if they have something and why it wasn't follow up on that.
Well, if you manage a building, you manage a property and you're having a repair done, it's your job as the manager to know the process of the repair and what needs to happen. And this is and like, in my opinion, this is a company that does this all over. They know what.
Well, the process is pretty
And if
easy.
they don't, then, but, yeah, I'm not gonna speak on HRA operations, I'm just speaking. What is the outcome if this kind of thing happened in a non-loosely associated city building, if it was a public commercial building? What would occur? I mean, are we having the same policy straight across the board? Do we need to implement rules that we put out publicly and everybody knows exactly what's going on if they fail to follow the procedure? Or would, in those situations, would occupancy be a vote? Or are we treating people different?
Like you're saying, for example, local hardware store, same situation happened. They don't pull a permit. They do exactly what was done. Is that kind of where you're headed with this? Is what?
Just anybody in general. We're not, I want to make sure that if we're looking at this and we're putting something in place, that we're being consistent with them in the same manner that we would be consistent with a privately owned commercial building.
And that's in place with our building official. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tabitha, but they have set guidelines for no matter who you are and how they handle situations where the permits weren't pulled correctly. So that's already set with Rum River.
If any staff is made aware that there's work is happening somewhere, hand it off to Run River. Staff does not involved. We're not involved until when it comes to getting payment for it.
And that process, the same process is being currently done with this loosely associated building.
Correct.
Well, I think, well, and Ann could back me up on this, but if it isn't wallpaper or floor coverings, it's permittable. And I've gotten complaints from residents saying that there was, maintenance people doing, electrical work and other work that shouldn't have been done. We never went through that at all with any of with HRA. I guess I was off of the HRA committee after that, but the management just needs to understand, Ken, unless it's paint or floor coverings or wallpaper, you can get a permit. I mean, it all is permittable in Pine City, so let's just do it then. There shouldn't be any questions asked. They should be asking the questions of the contractor, not expecting the contractor to do the permits. They should make sure the contractor shares copies of the permits so that they know it's being done permittable.
It's supposed to be posted on site during work.
No, not anymore. No, not anymore.
That's all I have for them. We will explore more and discuss more and bring back hopefully more.
I look forward to all these updates, everybody.
All right. Next up, unless anybody has any other questions about HRA Next up would be the Township Fire District Study. I was not able to attend that.
Tom and I attended. It was Charles Smith presented, his final presentation. Council should all have that in their inbox. We did question the budget that was used, as it did not include the nearly 300,000 that the city contributes annually. So the budget that was in the final presentation did not include that number. So we asked, where is that being represented? And it wasn't. So the final meeting, I believe, Chief, isn't that June 10th is what I have, is the, and I believe they stated that that would be where the vote would be happening.
What was the conclusion for how much money would be saved if they went into a joint powers agreement?
I left confused because it wasn't in the actual budget.
So this study got even more subjective with the facts. This kind of what I'm interpreting here. It was subjective with feedback for SWOT analysis things, and now we're being subjective with hard numbers that show what the city of South Pine City taxpayers pay to supplement fire service for the region.
And the presentation noted that Pokegama Township is the highest contributor towards the fire department, which gives them the highest percentage. But it did not include.
Which is true for the contractual money,
yeah,
but not
the
including
actual budget, which I believe is the most important bottom line.
the 36 to 42% that the city supplements every year for fire
40.
protection.
And just to clarify, does that extra include our ladder truck payments?
No.
So that's
with fire service.
So that's another $165,000 a year on top of that. So we're at almost $500,000 a year above and beyond what everybody else.
So I guess, I know their study was interesting for loan payments. Would they take on the loan payments for the ladder truck and the fire station, or would the city of Pine City still be on the hook in addition to whatever the joint powers agreement came up with?
The ladder truck did not get addressed.
The ladder didn't get addressed, but they kind of did briefly, as it depended on what equipment they were gonna take over, and he did reference that for that equation, to put into that equation as well.
And the fire hall.
And the fire hall,
But I don't believe it was included in the final presentation.
it wasn't. He didn't have any of that stuff built in. What he did have built in was building a barn dominium station and how that would add in, and what the city and everyone else would share of building that would be.
So the city would have to pay for those. So the end conclusion is that it's gonna get more expensive for the city, and the townships are gonna have control. That's the conclusion we're getting at. And on June 10th, they wanna have a vote to see if the city and the townships will move forward with this.
Right, and he did stress that it has to be a 100% participation in order for it to move forward.
Pretty easy one for me. I guess, can I make a motion right now or what?
No, I get the vote. I'm on the board.
Yeah, but you can't vote on behalf of the council without the approval of the council.
I thought you guys were gonna give it.
We could add that as an item, because you would have time to have this on the first June meeting on how you'd like to vote for the final meeting.
I think I have my answer right now, so to be honest.
We need to hold that.
Why? I thought this was
Okay,
I'm not real thrilled with how this played out. Like, so not this last meeting, but the meeting before, Mr. Smith said that he was gonna contact you to make arrangements to have meetings with councils, right?
Correct.
So, and now that didn't happen, and we're at the meeting after the final presentation, and now he wants to schedule a meeting with
well, I
us?
questioned, that was my question as well, is when are we going to be scheduling these meetings? And he said, oh yes, he would like to get on that, however, he already had one already scheduled.
With an entity that's not involved in the fire district study. Is that correct?
No, they're involved in the study.
They're involved in the study, but they're not.
They're not part of our.
I guess it's been rather disappointing to hear, and it's on me for not making it to more of the meetings and doing my due diligence, but it's rather disappointing if it requires everybody's approval that he's not standing here right now.
But I feel
When we have the fire, not to sound seated, but we have the fire department, so we are the people that you would want to convince that this is a better idea. I'm just trying, I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers or say anything, but like, you'd think that you would work with the council that controls the fire department.
To be honest, I was really disappointed in the final presentation because our city spent so much time, council, staff, going over every detail of that previous presentation to get it updated and current, and then to have the final presentation not even portraying the actual budget was very disappointing.
I don't put this on Mr. Schmidt. He did present to the firefighters, and I thought he did a very nice job of being clear, concise, and transparent about the whole ordeal. I think the situation is that the city of Pine City is a small contributor of that overall study. And at the end of the day, he's reporting to people that want control, and it's becoming very evident throughout the study because in the beginning, it was very, very different numbers, and now there's a lot of information being omitted, and I feel like it's being done so that it looks better or more favorable for it to go to a joint powers agreement. And in my mind, that's not transparency. And I'm at the point where I don't even want to entertain any kind of vote on June 10th because I don't think they're dealing fairly with transparency. And I'd rather put my eggs in the basket of talking to Hinckley and Sandstone with a more transparent and realistic fire district than whatever sham we have going on here. And that's what I'm going to call it. It's a sham. That's my personal opinion.
I second your opinion.
I'll form that into a motion so they can already have our answer before moving forward, or
Well, are we gonna give him a chance to come and give a presentation? I'm not trying to take his side, but you said you asked him and he didn't come with a date or.
No, and he was gonna reach out. I had let him know that our council had already decided that we could even schedule some, like a special meeting to just have it be that, be the agenda item.
Do you even
But I
want
haven't
that?
heard from him.
Do you even want a special meeting?
I don't know what we're gonna gain because it sounds like it's just getting more and more skewed to one side. And I think we have different options. I think we even have the option to stay on by ourselves, but the Hinckley and Sandstone deal, I'm not saying it's a perfect option, but it's a lot more realistic than whatever this is. And this is a grab for control in my mind. So I entertained the study. We got information back. The information from the study included nothing for improvements, and it included a plan for control to go out to other people. I'm done entertaining.
Well, I agree with that, but what I'd like to see is that we, because we made the commitment that we were gonna be a part of the study. I'm not trying to protect the study, but I would like to just come out of this, okay, we understand, but we don't like what we're seeing, and we want some realistic figures, and if we can't have that, here's our, if you were asking us to make your decision today, this is what it would be. If you want to come and try to put some credence into what you're saying and show us the transparency and the figures that we think should be in there, we're willing to listen. Otherwise, I guess I agree that we aren't willing to listen.
But the study's finalized now, and we have spent the last 4 months, in my opinion, providing that information and providing that feedback, and it doesn't make it in, or it gets cut completely.
or if it's changed between revisions and it's completely different between one revision and the other revision, and it was right first time and it's not right the second time.
The numbers for the substations, at the first proposal made sense. They were expensive, but somehow they got a quarter of that because of what we talked to somebody, and now we can build it for 4 million instead of 10 to 12 million. Yeah,
The city already paid for the fire hall. It sounds like they're gonna have to pay for substations. They're paying for a ladder truck. They got $300,000 plus what they currently have. They're operating under their own system, and it sounds like it's only gonna get more expensive under the joint powers agreement, and we're gonna lose everything. I'd rather go talk to Hinckley and Sandstone. I'll make that a motion. I say that we pull out of this study and no longer entertain the joint powers agreement with the township.
From Mr. Palmer to remove the city of Pine City from this fire study and look other direction. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Swanson. Any further discussion?
I don't think necessarily that we're pulling out from the study. The study's complete, right? It's done, it's final, it's been presented, now we're just gonna vote on it. So, I mean, I don't feel we're pulling out of it. I just feel we're pulling out of it.
I guess I'll amend my motion that our answer for being part of the joint powers agreement is no. That'll be my motion.
Comfortable with that as your
Yes,
second?
I will still say.
All right. We got a motion and a second on the floor with our answer for a joint powers agreement from the city of Pine City is no.
With, you know, I'd still like to see some verbiage with the current information. I let them come back with something if they want to. I'm not saying we have to entertain it, but I think we close the door on it. We're going to take a lot more criticism than we would if we tell them why we're not in favor of it.
But it's my understanding that we're past the point where we can make changes because the study has been finalized.
Right,
Because it has to be turned in, because there's grant work involved and it's got to be closed out. So that's just my understanding.
Is that true?
That's correct. They have deadlines. They have to submit.
So if there would be no chance if we had Mr. Smith here say, what about this? What about this? What about this? You need to fix this. It's done. It's over.
Okay, well, I'm okay then if that's the
Because that was
case,
the
but
final.
I just,
But
Because the township would still have the opportunity. They, maybe we should look at this, because there was 44 different recommendations that he had in there. I don't know.
It just seems to me, and I'm gonna try not to go into the weeds here real deep for a second, but it just seems to me like this whole fire study has gotten blown out of proportion, and it started off as under the guise of how do we provide the best fire service possible to Pine City and Pine City's contracted partners. And it has ended up with just how costs going up for everybody is what I've seen across the board. We're going from a service-based model where right now we're their Netflix. They want to watch TV, they pay Pine City. We're their fire department. You pick up the phone, you call 911, Pine City's coming to your aid. And they want to be owner of the Blockbuster. They want to own part of the DVD stores. And I'm not projecting here, but they want ownership in the situation, but it's very interesting to me. And I think I've been very disappointed with the way the study has gone because of, like has been mentioned in the past, we do have another group with Hinckley and Sandstone that are making progress and making headway, and we're having good communication, good conversations. And it seems like this is just somebody's mad that they're paying more than they want to pay for their service.
And in my opinion, with the Hinckley Sandstone, seems to be something that is treated with mutual respect and mutual drive to accomplish a common goal, rather than how can we take control and make things cheaper. And it's like night and day. It's oil and water as far as what those conversations are.
This meeting, the broadcasted video and the meeting notes will serve as a notice of why we're unhappy with everything that's taken place. They're able to review it. I'll still be an evil person when they review it. And that might even prompt them to come back here, but it might snap them into reality, realizing that the city is not going to go down the avenue of being part of whatever, like you said, this has turned into. And that might bring them back to the table. And maybe at that point, if it's revised and we can find something that makes sense, it works. But I think in reality, they kind of need a wake up call at this point, because this is not realistic.
Because again, and I'm not trying to, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I've got more family of mine lives outside of the city limits in Pine City, Pekegama, and Shangwatana Township than lives in the city limits. So I see both sides, and I see wanting to keep taxes low, and I see wanting to keep costs low. But at the end of the day, I don't see how any of this would be beneficial to the group, it's going to be more expensive for everybody, except for the few and far between that we can hopefully find for a substation. I don't know, this is not how you get costs to go down. I don't think, I think that's that it was done on that, was the practice or the thought going into this was let's drive costs down, let's have everybody have a seat at the table. Everybody's had a seat at the table at these fire meetings, and I've been on them and off of them. Mr. Palmer, Mr. Hill have been on them. There's no folks come to these fire meetings and there's no complaints that are brought forward. There's no comments at all. So, and then all of a sudden there's this study. We want to help you. We want to support you. That takes money. And if you can't realize that we're throwing another $500,000 a year roughly at this for the fire department, that there's a reason the fire department isn't sitting in Pecoma Township. It's sitting in the city of Pine City because that's where a lot of the funding's coming. But I have sympathy for the residents. I would love to continue conversations with the board members and with Mr. Smith, but if they can't put all the correct information on the table, we can't make a valid decision, which makes the whole study inaccurate.
You know what the big solution is? If we just annexed everybody.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, God, there we go.
Let's do it. The study has done a nice job of outlining the fact that we're paying a lot more money than everybody else. And I think that also merits a revisit at some point, a little further down the line for a special work session or a budget meeting.
To add
Some of
on
that-
to your comment too, I think the study showed that we have a fantastic fire department.
And some of the extra makes sense because inside city limits, you have the fire station, you have the fastest response, you have, like, I mean, so there's a certain portion of that makes sense for us to pay more, but it needs to be explained and understood and not omitted that it's happened. Correct.
We have a motion and a second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Can you refresh my memory what your motion was, Mr. Palmer?
That we we say no to moving forward with the joint powers agreement as it currently stands.
All right, and that's got a second from Dan. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, next up, item number 9.1, Planning Commission meeting, May 27th, 2026 agenda.
This is the agenda for the planning commission. If council is fit to move forward with this agenda, the meeting is set for next Wednesday. The agenda will be posted by Friday.
Marcy, I know you and I have had a conversation. I had asked to have the data centers thing added to that. Can that be moved? Can we make action if it's under councilor concerns miscellaneous items, or does that have to be moved to? Okay, because I think that's going to be a I just want to make sure that.
But I hope we can have a more healthy conversation than was had at the council.
It can be moved, that's just where the
I had moved
always
it to
put
new,
anybody-
under new business.
recommendation, so that can definitely be moved.
I just want to make sure, it sounds like there are members from the public that are coming, so I would hate for them to come to a meeting where we're all of a sudden just talking about it and then it gets kicked down to another meeting down the road. Which, if we move forward with it, they will be moved to another meeting down the road, but if we're going to have discussion, just wanted to make sure that we could
We'd
have
like to see it
discussion.
moved to
Yeah, maybe.
new business.
I tend to agree with you.
And this will be broadcasted, right? I would
Correct.
have to request to come into a.
You put that first under new business, so that
Clear the room. Yeah. We're working on finalizing the agenda tomorrow, so I think, but I like.
Oh,
where you're
that's
going.
right. I'm sorry. I thought you guys- Okay.
Sorry, I thought it was finalized, I didn't mean to attack you. Other than that, it looks works. Great. Any other follow-up for the planning commission agenda, upcoming planning commission agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to 9.2 EDA meeting agenda. That again, that would be great.
Is it on there now? Oh, thank you. So this is agenda that will, I had to refresh, sorry. Oh, no, it's still different. So I worked on this with, and then sent it to the chair to review. No additions or changes were made, and now I'm just looking for council to see that this is good to move forward. The post, and this, I would have this posted on Friday.
At the last meeting in here, we had come up with some things that we wanted to see back at the EDA, and I'm drawing a blank on it. For possible improvements, I think one of them was to look at giving out bigger lower RLF.
Yep, address the RLF.
Did that get added to this, or?
Is that the last council meeting?
Yep. Yeah.
Was that the EDA meeting?
I think we had a special.
We had a special.
So that was the meeting
I
around.
didn't look at that one. So I apologize.
And I'm not saying that you guys necessarily should take action on it, but I think it merits putting it on it to not forget about it and to start having the conversations around it.
And we can add it to, for at least for our discussion piece, if we want to start that process.
Strategic, I mean, it all should be part of the strategic plan, in my opinion.
Follow up for the EDA. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to work session planning. Item number 10.1, set 2027 budget work session.
This was the dream big one that we talked about, maybe setting a date now in June. So
Talk about this at the June meeting.
we could just, I mean, this agenda got very large, and if June 3rd agenda is on the smaller side, we could just even have it as a discussion point for that meeting. Okay, let's try that.
All right. Item number 10.2, scheduled date for Charles Smith Triad Paradigm presentation on Township Fire Districts.
So he hasn't reached out to me yet, but I thought I would see if there was, I mean, do we want to look at a date for this?
I mean, in my mind, we kind of just already took action on it. And I think the ball in my mind is on the townships to kind of get to review these meeting minutes and review the recording and see if they can come up with something if they want to keep moving forward in a direction. But I don't think having that conversation, if it's already a finalized plan, is going to really do us any good. You can bring it back to them and they can just say, yeah, we don't agree with that. But I don't need to read the study again. You know, look at it enough times.
Over with the fine tooth comb.
Would council like me to reach out to Mr. Smith and let him know that?
I guess that would be my thought. Yeah, mine too.
Unless he has a bunch of information that he hasn't shared with anybody else that he wants to share with us. Getting that in a motion farmers here. Perfect. All right, next up, 10.3, audit update.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. We had Monday and Tuesday, very long days. We ended meeting with Greg Burkhart yesterday evening, and he said last year's was great. This year was even better. He's going to be presenting to us the first meeting in July. We will be filing on time, and I just want to, yeah.
If we file on time, I will bring cake. Because I think it'll be the first time. Cake's expensive. It's gotta be $5 or less. We gotta talk about that now.
But I want to publicly thank Nicole, our finance director, for the work that was put into this. We had a lot of helping hands, but you've led a great year of audit, and I think you need to be acknowledged for that. So thank you.
Thank you. I know we can't say it enough, but with my previous involvement, the city left because there couldn't be financial documents that were produced. So to come from, we don't know how much money is in the bank account to where we are today is fantastic. And thank you for everything you've done for us.
Like Frank said that he did have spoken to them, but nobody has given anything. So I just
discussed it yesterday.
want this promise that's coming to me to actually happen.
We discussed it yesterday, and there, yeah, it did come up, but I don't remember what it was because they have a separate auditor
Yes, they do.
that deals with stuff. I don't know, okay. We'll have to do some, maybe we can do some follow-ups, but see what's going on, but I don't see why not.
I just want to make sure that the promise of the auditor is really going to happen. Be based on one day.
Uh-oh,
I'm fine with that.
on video.
So, I have it written down. See, Dave, Rain Cake.
Rain Cake.
Does it say Rush City?
On Rush City. We have a hit.
They sure do.
And the EDA stuff is all gonna get done in time for the audit too.
Oh, yep, that's part of our audit.
All right, I don't have anything super duper exciting for the mayor's report today. Do we have any council concerns?
I have one. And it was right up during this council meeting. So I mentioned that historically we run into some challenges where I think we need to look at getting 3 bids or making interest of working for the city to be public, and we need to push that. There has been a lot of pushback over the years that we've always gone to the same contractors repeatedly, and people haven't been able to come in and bid. I know that we've also gotten bids from people and gotten their amounts. We've been locked in with moving forward with them in the past, and I don't like that. I'd like to try and change that so that we're at least putting it out that we're interested in finding more people to look at these things. I know at one point Tabitha had gone through and called, I think, every business in the state of Minnesota and put together a huge binder of services out there. But I think we have to get back to that where we're still giving the opportunity. We might have people that we enjoy using, and maybe that's the direction we go. But I still think that we need to get extra bids from everybody and see who's available out there, because it is taxpayer dollars. And I don't want people to think that we're just picking our friends and they're getting special deals because of that. So that is my council concern. I hope that we can work on that and get away from just going with the obvious and putting it back out there.
Can we maybe bring a I'm assuming the city has a purchasing policy that lays all this out. Can we bring that up and to a future council meeting, take a look at it?
LMC has stuff too on what you have to do for RFPs and dollar amounts and all that stuff.
I know our stuff at the county like the back of my hand, but I don't know what our thresholds are here, if they're the same.
If we always use the same people on every single deal because we're comfortable with using them, we lose opportunities to find out what other services are out there. And if somebody could do things differently or better or cheaper or more efficient or whatever, I still think it's part of the due diligence process to get more information. And we've been burned in the past by going with the same contractor and ending up with very, very high invoices and places where the council had intervened. And I think that stuff we have to come back and look at. And even if you go out for RFP for free and you end up using the same person, we're transparent with the public and with public funding, saying we're trying, but there's this one person that, or this one entity that is able or interested in this work. There, you might not get any more bids or any more offers or anything, but at least we can say that we made the effort.
Any other council concerns? Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn? Motion by Dan. Second by Dave. Any further discussion? None. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you, everybody.
No, I'm good.
Hi, everybody.